call this meeting of the Emergency Services District 2 to order at 6 p.m. Certify there is a quorum present. Absent right now is Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Wilson. Hopefully they're just hung up in traffic. And I ask everyone if they would please silence their cell phones. If you have to have your portable radio on, please keep it turned down to a manageable level. And this time I'll ask Commissioner Donley to lead us in the invocation and the pledge to the American Republic flag.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening to thank you and praise for you, Lord, for all that you do for us. We pray that you would guide us throughout the evening. Lord, we'd also ask that you would watch over people within our nation that need your loving and tender care at this point in time, Lord. Please be with those families that have lost loved ones in the past, Lord. We ask all these things in your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the flag, allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under one indivisible.
Item 3, invitation of guests and special presentations. And Chief Greaser, I thank you.
President, Commissioners, if I may, I'm going to invite a few people up to join me for this presentation. So if I could get Chief Clanton, training captains that are present with us to all come forward. If I could also get Dylan Atkin, Jason Woodard, Daniel Gilbert, Nicole Ainsworth, Jimmy Wallace, Dunaway, Tim Schmidt, Sam Drake. Why don't you just kind of line up right here behind me? Nice. Thanks for coming tonight. It is my honor and privilege to present to you the graduates of the Smith County ESD number 2 in conjunction with Kilgore College Fire Academy, TCFP's Basic Firefighter Class number 1 that began December 6th of 22 and ran through February 21st of 2023. All of those that stand behind me are graduates of the Academy, and we've made a special plaque in recognition of that will also go to the corresponding departments that include Winona, including White House VFD, including Flint Gresham, and Dixie. And so I think it's the work of our captains in conjunction with our local college that have worked in collaboration to produce the candidates that you see behind me that will be professionally qualified for future jobs and be seeking employment potentially in the fire service that I love and honor so much. So I'm extremely proud of the work that these gentlemen did and in collaboration and the work that these students did, the tireless work of the Academy, having a son that just recently did that, and I understand how intense that is. It goes with it. So I would ask for everyone in the room a round of applause for all of them. Chief Clanton, how would you like the plaques to be presented? I think we ought to stand for a picture and then the presentation.
If you want to do a group and then as an individual department, I think that would be great. And we have the plaques for each individual to take back and hang there in your fire hall.
Yeah, why don't we just line up right here behind? We'll get a picture from in front. You can come right and I'll have
Give those to the departments. Find out.
And then if y'all jump in the picture as well. All of us. Yep. Let them slide right behind you there. Everybody in the- Maybe come this way just a little bit so we get some of the clutter out of the way. Okay? Congratulations.
We might get a couple more outside.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
We'll do what we can.
Congratulations. Good job.
Here we go.
Congratulations. Congratulations on the. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, nice work. All right, nice work. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So when do they take the test?
Well, there's a couple of determining factors that we'll present to you in short order.
Item number 4, public comment. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
How many papers, Brad, do you have here?
All right. Having none, I guess we'll go to item 5, which is our consent agenda. Taking necessary action related to paying of accounts, bills, invoices, payroll, request for reimbursement, request for other.
So, just on the 5.1 page, in review of some of the submitted, there was one of them that was for sign code, so it needs to be withdrawn from those that are approved. It's in the amount of $343.77. So I was just get my calculator out right. We can come up with the new total, but just to exclude that one from the
On the bills
yes.
for 21,000 or what?
Well, no, for the total of $592.43, need to reduce it by that one invoice. I don't trust myself doing it. So. Okay, so I'll make the motion that we approve 5.1, inclusive of all those that have been submitted, with the exception of the one invoice for $3.77 to Amazon Business, bringing a new total to $948.66.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Domney to approve with the exception of the $343.73 from Amazon, bringing the subtotal to $909,248.66. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Thornton. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And under 5.1, pay those bills in the amount of $909,248.66. And then we will revisit the 343.77
Yes.
at a different date. 5.2, district credit cards.
I don't have any comments on those. If anybody else,
They look fine to me.
so while we're here, do we have any comments to 5.3? Okay, I'll make, if you don't mind, I'll make the motion then that we approve 5.2 district credit cards in the amount of $22,219.03. Under 5.2 in the amount of $190,000.74.
Motion by Commissioner pay our district credit cards in the amount of $22,219.03, and also our contract payments in the amount of $190,320.70.
$321.74. You want $321.74?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you said 320.
321.
You said 320.74.
I'm good. Have a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Say nay. And that carries. All right. Item number 6, approval of the minutes of the special call meeting of 2023. Commissioners, February 27, 23.
And I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes as submitted for the special call meeting of March 13, 2023, as well as the regular scheduled board meeting on February 27, 2023.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Domney that we approve minutes of the meeting on March 13th, 3, and also the Board of Commissioners minutes of February 27th, 2023.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Thornton. Is there any other? All right, in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Item 7, take action on request for Averitt Trucking as presented by Tyler Economic Council and Averitt Trucking representatives. Okay.
Hello, I'm Vice President of the Tyler Economic Development Council. Good seeing y'all. I have for your consideration tax abatement for Averitt Transportation. Currently, they have a facility on 155 North. According to the appraisal district, the valuation of that property is $295,000. We've been working with them the past several months on a facility on 155. They're hopefully moving forward with that investment. Before you tonight, it's a 5-year tax abatement program with the first 2 years of the abatement being at 80%, 3 and 4 being at 60%, and the final and 5th year being at 60%. You know, what's interesting about this project, as I just referenced, currently they have $295,000 on the tax rolls. Even with this new facility, you're going to be collecting on $2 million. So it increases the receipts the first 2 years exponentially with this new project. This will take their to 45 people with average salaries over $70,000 a year for the jobs. With this project, your receipts will go up exponentially on a new facility, and then new jobs, as well as after year 5, you'll get the 100% of the assessment. It's one of those projects that I love because, you know, they're going from $295,000 with the full assessment today that's being collected on to $2 million with an 80% abatement. So, and good jobs for Smith County.
So it's my understanding we were losing 1,000 over the 5-year period, is that right?
I validated your numbers, so they seem right to me as far as that is.
Yes.
Based on current valuation or future valuation?
That's, you know, if we look quickly at this value for the first 5 years, it's based on that. But if you compare what's being collected in the project compared to the current project, the actual receipts increase exponentially.
What's the probability of the project going forward?
100%. So purchased 412 acres for our new business park on 155 at Interstate 20, and we've got at least 3 projects we'll potentially bring to you in the next 6 months.
Is this project going up there in that new development?
It is. It's not going to be in the development. It's going to be on the eastern part of 155 where the county is building a new County Road 3. They hired Brandon Engineering last week to do the engineering. We anticipate that road construction to be complete by mid-2024, and the first property purchased 150 acres, and they'll be doing a $42 million facility. They'll know at some point with 150 jobs. We've got 2 more that in addition to that one.
And this is the same thing, Smith County for
Smith County's approved it, as well as the East Texas Utility District, and later this week, we'll take it before the Tyler College Board for consideration.
All in all, the revenue goes up. Without a doubt, there's going to be some additional responsibility for play with the new facility. But I think in your case where we already have an existing business, that I've actually moved to call it. I'm agreeing that we were going to accept this. But we have some concerns over the full other development without knowing exactly what our roles will be. This particular one, I'd say definable for right now.
So we make a motion, we approve this and authorize the board president to sign the thing.
Yeah, so make it.
Okay, have a motion for Domney that we approve the payment to Everett Trucking and authorize the president to sign all documents. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other discussion or any questions? All those in favor saying aye? Aye. Those say nay?
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for what you do for Smith.
Thank you. Item item number 8. Struck off properties, discuss, consider any necessary action to the attached resolutions, associated resale deeds authorizing the president of the board to sign such documents may be necessary to approve the bids and property sales of the below mentioned struck properties. Number 25, Troop Independent School versus Zoom Media. 25-350, Tyler Independent versus Green. Sweet, number 6, 26A, Bullard ESD versus Hilton, and number 2573, ISD versus Caring Becknell. So those are the properties, and everybody knows what we're, the bid amount on 2573 is $11,251, which we'll into that. Versus Green Betty amount $5,000. Suit number 26230, Bullard ISD versus Hilton, bid amount is $4,000. And suit 33, bid amount is $4,000. Entertain a motion that we would those to struck off properties deal. This will get some revenue out of them. So, okay, have a motion by Commissioner Domney that we authorize resolutions and sale of the deeds of the respective properties. As a second. And a second by Commissioner Wilson. Other discussion or question? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, and that motion carries. Item 9, discuss donating surplus no longer used equipment to Helping Hand. I think we tabled this last time for what was originally tabled. Charles here or something.
And it didn't show up on the agenda.
It didn't show up on the agenda, that's what it was. Yeah. So we couldn't take any action on it, but it's here this time, so. I don't have any problem with donating our surplus equipment we no longer use or that we no longer need to Helping Hand so they can other departments, places they can use it.
Do we have a definition of what we're?
Do we know exactly what we're
Kelsey told me he's inventoried all of them and that he would distribute it out
project on clear, we could use and release the rest of the helping hand.
If I may, Commissioner, you know, it's stuff that we definitely, if we have use for it, we're gonna hang on. Like, no doubt about it. So it would definitely be things that it's cluttering and it's taking up space, and that there's not enough use for it, that we see a good fit for. So that could come in terms of a variety of things, including hose, PPE gear, nature, old generators that are no longer in use. So without having a tabulation come up each time, I think that would be the only alternative is to tabulate it each time for disposal.
So just like we purchases and expenditures, I'm of the opinion that we should do the same for anything that we're disposing of. We should have an exact list of what we think the value of it is. I'm not willing to give a carte blanche. Just give away whatever you want to.
I think you have to have a list.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to table that again until we come up with a comprehensive list of what we need to do. Item number 9, we'll table and take up another meeting, as long as we have a list of what we're disposing of.
I agree.
Which I agree, we should have a list of what we're getting rid of, so. All right, so number 9 is tabled to another time. Okay, agenda item 10, executive report. Eric?
Everybody should have talked over, that was a test, so I'm not going to repeat everything. Suffice it to say, there are 3 main items that are going on in the district. We have the chief and the new command structure that we presented tonight. We have new policies that are being proposed by our HR director tonight. And there is the real estate, both in land for stations and finding possibilities for a new building. And last but not least, the proposal phase number 2, the recruitment and hiring of more firefighters and personnel. So those are the main activities that are going on. You can read, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions or? No. Okay, so you have any? No? All right. Financial reports. I guess that will follow you too.
They are all attached. There is, as you could see again, the reconciliations came out to 0 discrepancies. The main things to say really is that revenue is surprising on the positive side, and the expenditures are, for the most part, in budget. There is a section of some overages that are minor mostly, but they need to be examined further, and that will happen in time with mid-year review at the next board meeting in April.
All right. Anybody have any questions on financials? Report? Okay.
No, it all looks good, Eric. I appreciate that. And especially the fact that you reconcile to the opinion of like this.
I'm surprised myself on that.
All right. Mr. Webb, Financial Director monthly report. So.
Yet to follow up one question on the financial report is that once we have most done, I'm going to sit down and try and project out what the totals will be until the end of the fiscal year. Compare that to what we budgeted, and then sit down with the board treasurer, and hopefully together we will decide whether we should allow a budget amendment to be made for particular overages, or whether we should simply no more expenditures on that line item. Those are the two alternatives that we have for those overages, and we're going to focus on expenditures by itself. Of course, look at revenue too, but that should be independent of the expenditure side. Other than that, there is something I would like to point out, and that is the treasury funding requirements. As the board remembers, council advised that we contact county judge's office and see if we have confirmation. And we did send off an email, a formal email requesting such confirmation, but as of today, no reply has been received from the county judge. So,
clarification to the statement that Eric made is that even though he will review the forecast myself, what we do with amendments or cease expenditures is not up to.
Right. And you two guys go through that, and you come back and make a recommendation to the board, and then we'll approve that recommendation, whatever. But yeah, it will be a board.
Yes.
All right. We'll move forward. All right. I guess there's any action to be taken at this time on the. So, item 13, Director of Human Resources report. 13.1, discuss, consider, and take necessary action on her report, which would also point to the new policies, which is the whistleblower policy, drug testing policy, background check and drug screening, and workman's compensation policy, and 13.3, and discuss necessary action on safety report. Jerry, you're up.
Okay. You all have a copy of my resources report. I don't know if you have any on that. I wasn't going to go through each line item on it unless you have questions. Okay. Now, the background check and screening, drug screening, and the compensation policy. I did want to point out on the workers' compensation policy that this is what you had approved in the previous meeting about the workers' comp company paying 70%, and then he's going to pay 15% supplemental income, base pay. And then the out of that 15% will pay 7% retirement contribution, payroll. The retirement.
Okay. And that is?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I didn't know if you had any questions on other policies.
Go on. Just comment.
Okay.
We need to approve those policies as submitted, and then we'll move on. Safety. It's been submitted for approval by the board. I have a motion by Commissioner Fortin that we approve whistleblower screening policy and workers' compensation. I'll have a second. Have a second by Commissioner. Have any other discussion of policies? Not, all those in any 13. Safety.
Right. On that, I also put the responses on what we're doing about each one of these. We're in the process of developing procedures and processes to respond on the past. The next. Any questions on these?
Individual items. I guess I would add a step ladder so they can perform duties at the station. To me, that was just as simple as just go get a step ladder, right? And I'm not saying we don't want the fit, but we didn't have to solve the problem by going through the process. We just got a step ladder. To me, it's simple. So, I'm glad it got resolved.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sheriff. Update. Process. All right. Item 14, support services report, which where is funding request for hose bed covers, Metro Fire, and stuff, and authorize the staff to purchase of the hose bed covers for Metro Fire, costing not to exceed $11,365. Mike's gonna take that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that for you guys. Good evening, board. This was presented, a few months ago. At the time, we were requesting 3 because that was the at the moment. And of course, after doing the apparatus evaluation a couple months ago, we have identified that we've got at least 6 that are in desperate need of being replaced. We went and just shot for at least the 6 to get done right now, and then, come about. We don't foresee any the rest of this year, but of course time will tell. But we cover the at least 6 to 7 hose bed covers that we may need, and they are of different shapes and sizes, so some of the prices will be a little different.
So we have a quote for.
No, we had quotes for the first we're going to do, and then we just kind of based that total off of yes.
Well, it says 370.
I'm sorry, that might have been a typo on my part.
Unsure about the process that we're going to go through to, are we selecting low bidder? What are we basing our purchase request on if we don't have quotes for what we're going to buy?
Do have an individual truck, 2 from local vendors that we have used before, and those hose bed covers are already starting to rip and tear. The one we have from Metro Fire is from a reputable fire apparatus company. This company that they have on board for is specialized in building these hose bed covers for these apparatus. So they're designed a lot different than these local upholsters will do, and they hold up 10 times better to what these other ones do.
Metro Fire.
Yes, sir.
I'm still, we only have a quote from Metro Fire for $1,625.
No, you have 2 other ones. You have one there from Moose and one there from Wallace Upholstery.
Right. No, what I'm saying, we got a single quote for $1,625. That come up to $11,365, $375.
The way I was told by Larry is that to just get the one quote for the one truck and we would base it on
Did they just multiply that times 6? Is that Commissioner?
7.
What they did?
I'm not sure.
Because they're different shapes, different sizes now, so we're not gonna be exactly the same.
But because so I think the logic is that the quote was not only
And best value in terms of the product, and they could replicate it, and that's to the multiplication factor to get it to your 11,375.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, 5 times 7,
Okay.
but are we actually value?
Yes.
Well, I think it's got to be a not to exceed. So the best value was the approach.
But again, I guess I'm not, so are we approving you to spend 11,375? Outfit 7 apparatus with new.
Yeah.
Because we can spend all of it.
I think the motion should be clear that it's all 7 and not to exceed.
Okay, so if that's what we can do is outfit 7 of them. Probably we got into in the past, just that. And ask for more money.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to approve the expenditure. Later.
I agree.
And this is going to be a progressive thing. This is because he's going to have process.
but the logic.
Authorize expenditure of the 11,370, not to exceed 11,375 to outfit all 7 trucks.
We got to come back before you and ixnay that.
To do is we purchase that. After he comes and makes
Right.
a step, then I think we should go back and approve of what it's going to be.
So what,
Could you not 7 it to accomplish all 7 trucks and not or fall when we come back before?
Because then the other 2 quotes.
Potentially.
If and stay within that speed, I feel like that's a compromise.
so we would like to make this, but not to exceed $11,275, or the approval is null and we come back with quotes for all 7 for consideration.
That's fair.
On that. All right, so the motion is to all 7 cars from that exceed 11,000. And then once it figure out exactly what it is, more than that, this null and void, but if they, all can be. That was by Commissioner Dommy, and it was by Commissioner say nay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Point two, discuss the services for $50.64. The vendor Brent. This was a pair of income.
Yes, sir.
$1,550 completed.
Is it not asking for the emergency purchase?
Yes.
To approve that amount.
They're asking for the emergency purchase authorized staff to proceed with the required.
Come in to
Stated was that the work had been completed when you approved that amount.
I think without your approval, it may remain in limbo.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the funding request. $5,150.64. Acknowledge that the work is incomplete and we'll have to come back for final approval once completed. So this isn't paying it, this is just funding it.
This is just a funding request
Yeah.
Correct.
for that amount of money. My understanding was a completed. I'll go along with that. If we would approve up to $550.64 when it's completed.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Three, review and discuss support services report. I guess you'll be given that one, Brent.
Yes, I really don't have anything of note, other than logistics. Their new box truck today. I want to thank Fleet and Troop for helping us get so completed last week of all user profiles from our old NAS server to the new one. So if any issues with their profile, please let us know, because there is a chance that some files might have been missed in the transfer. So if you notice anything, so that way we can investigate it.
All right. Thank you, Brent. Item 14, discuss, consider, and take any action on purchasing geotechnical investigation from the Jamestown Station as requested by Harris Craig Architects Incorporated, not to exceed the cost of $4,681.50. So I think after did all talk to them and make sure ability for us to provide any more services. Is that correct, Brent?
Yes.
Be complete.
Yeah, there were several exceptions that were on the proposal, and Harrison Craig has validated we're responsible for providing those services, so we wouldn't have any risk with those, all those exceptions that were listed. Everything is already covered by somebody else. The only risk that we have is we ran into problems actually accessing the property, i.e. got stuck or found a bog or risk associated there. Outside that, it's all been covered. So with that, I know we've kind of a little bit, so we'll make the motion that we approve the $4,681.50 for the ETTL engineers.
By Commissioner Dominic, we approve the expenditure of $681.50 to ETTL engineers and consultants. Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other discussion? All right, all those signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. And carries. All right. Item 15.1, discuss and consider and take any necessary operations division command staff structure changes. Chief Cruiser.
Yeah, before you, I've attached several, a letter to the board that articulates the request and the anticipated benefit that should be expected from your approval. In addition to that, I've also the worksheet that breaks out the request and the costs associated with that. This is a request at this point at this juncture of the budget year, and so I respectfully have provided you what I could anticipate your questions would be, and myself any questions you might.
Chief Cruiser, I'll acknowledge for everybody else that you did meet with myself and Commissioner Brown earlier this week and went through this in quite a level of detail and answered measure to my understanding. Thank you very much for that. I don't have any other questions. I'll handle about the commissioners.
I was gave us a good detailed explanation of everything, and I would certainly agree with what you said. Everything seems to be in order.
I certainly appreciate it. That's useful. Thank you.
It was. So at this point in time, I motion to approve those changes to the command structure. Cruiser is laid out.
I guess before we actually do that, I wouldn't mind asking just either Mr. Wilson or Mr. Thornton if y'all had any questions that possibly we can answer for you.
No, I talked to Johnny about it, $16.
No, my main concern is the budget for this year, and we've been answered my questions with his letter. So,
I believe that we should be stay within budget with these changes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, with that being said, I will approve operations division and command structure changes.
Make a motion that we would approve the operations command staff structure as presented in the letter to the board as prepared and submitted by Chief Cruiser.
By Commissioner Dominic, approve the change in the operations division command as presented by Cruiser in his letter outlined.
second.
Have a second by Commissioner Thornton. Is there any other discussion or question? Not, all of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries.
Commissioner, would you like to know names tonight?
Go ahead.
All right, the Assistant Administration, J.D. Smith, please stand. Assistant Chief of Operations, Doug Strickland, please stand. Division Chief of Training and EMS, Corey Clanton.
Congratulations.
What we'll do is come back to our next meeting and do a swearing in. We would do that with their families present, if you wouldn't mind.
All right. Want to discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on phase 2 hiring.
Yes, so again, I've provided you a detailed explanation of the request. I've also provided you with a worksheet that explains exactly what the request entails. Most specifically, we have conducted a fairly robust analysis of our utilization of paid time as that relates to the available shifts one can take in paid time off. So we calculated the entire year. We forecasted how many shifts need to be available for the staff of our size. We've also, by doing that, been able to replicate that for future hires and what those relief factors. So in short, it's about a 20% of the staff that it to cover both scheduled and unscheduled leave. It could be things like jury duty, bereavement, it could be sick time, it could be kind of cases that, and workers' comp. So those are the unscheduled. The schedules are obviously our vacation and holidays picks that's relative to their tenure within the organization. So that we've articulated that in the letter to you related to how much overstaff that you need for that, not too much, not too little, and so that we can forecast that as we grow our hires and future hires and future needs. In addition, I'm asking for two positions. That's the staff that we need on a day, on a given day, 365. I've asked you to increasing our minimum staff numbers at 2 locations at Red Springs and Dixie related to the risk of second due apparatus related to the distance that is needed to cover for the 2 in, 2 out. 2 in, 2 out is adopted by the Texas Protection. It is law with one exception, a known rescue in progress. With a known rescue in progress, there is an exception to that. Outside of that, it is absolutely a required policy that must be adopted, which we have, and it is to adhere to that. That we're not interior firefighting without the availability to outside. And I remain available for any of your questions or comments.
One thing to note,
Yes, sir.
time spent on this one as well. The one thing that I think is of relevance to myself and others is that we phase 2 was personnel, and we're asking for 12. So we're actually going to draw early on phase 3 for those 3 personnel, and we'll readdress what we did in phase 3. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. And what I assure you with this approval is that our relief factor is now in line where we can even provide a policy to allow people off, even last minute off. That's pretty handy and pretty effective in terms of morale when people have emergencies come up and they'd like to be able to be off. The reality is, I really like to have minimum staffing every day, not more than, not less than. That's the most efficient use of our funds, is that just have that. The reality to that is it's not possible having a buffer staff.
And also cuts down on the overflow.
It absolutely does that.
Eric, what I understand, with, even with our first aid need, how much did it impact our time?
It's basically gone down, the first two payrolls in March, the overtime expense went down like 80 to 90% compared to the prior months. So we attribute that drastic reduction to the first phase one hiring we did.
With doing this, we should stay within about the same parameters.
Yeah,
Close.
I mean, you can't go below zero. So.
Well, no, you know, I mean, go below zero.
One other point to note is we have a list, surprise package off of that list, meaning that many are taking jobs, things of that nature. So although we may be close on the list, I don't anticipate that we'll be able to fully hire that list. Will require a future eligibility established and be available for us for the next 12 months.
And what might be good is just keep an eye on that list and make a recommendation to us as to when you want to have another.
Yes.
So, your list, keep it up.
Yeah, with any vacancies on the list, I would assume that your approval here with this staffing also a recruit test, and that test would then be eligible for 12 months.
But didn't we, didn't we approve?
We approved the full amount for the budget year.
In terms of cost.
Yes, so the amount we had for testing in the budget was approved in October.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so you are
You are.
approved up to the, whatever the cap was, it was set.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Motion
I'll make the motion that we approve the 9 to fill phase 2, as well as 3 additional personnel from our phase 3 for the purpose of ensuring that we're compliant with number of personnel in, as well as providing supplement personnel for when personal time off is required.
a motion. Already done.
It might be easier to say, I approve you for our 12, treat them as you need.
Make a motion. The motion by Commissioner Dominy to hire 12 additional personnel to fulfill the obligations that we need to do out and have additional personnel to take care of the off for staffing.
Yes.
Second? I'll second. Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right. 15. 3, discuss, consider taking necessary action on new hire uniforms and PPE. Uniform and PPE funding request. You taking care of that, Chief? Or is that Larry's?
It's showing up under ours here. This is actually the associated cost to bring on what you've just approved. So what we're doing with that is coming right behind it. Your approval for equipping and that you're need for those hires.
Only question I have, and this goes back to approving some expenditures earlier this evening.
Yeah.
in gear in February of last year, just received. Now, do we have any commitment from them on delivery of these 14 sets?
I met with them at the conference that we were just at, the Texas Fire Chief Conference we were at in Waco. Yes, they're doing better on in terms of production. All tasked with the same problems of similar products of the gear line in terms of materials and the components that are contained in the gear. So they're all struggling. Some produce gear, but any of the gear that's made to order, they're all struggling.
Any commitment at all?
They're all dancing, all of them.
Supply chain issues, which we understand.
Yeah, it's most, I mean.
So is it, I guess, the with a bigger order or labor client comes in.
I can't specifically answer the question though.
Works. We could build, and so if you happen to be city used,
Right.
like that, then so
And who's on, who's checking to see if that's the case or not.
right. And without a delivery date, we have no means of actually holding them accountable for delivery of our goods at a certain time.
Right. Is known that the spec that we put together is acceptable for us and we feel like it's the right product.
Right.
So when we step outside that, there's
So
not.
are we gonna have the gear for these that get hired?
I don't fully have the answer to that. It would require that we explore options if we, and the option would be rental.
All right, that was my next question. Is there anybody else that might have the same gear or comparable gear that we could get?
And there are different products. Yeah, there are definitely different product lines, no doubt about it.
Would I don't care if it's a different product line, as long as it's the same quality, need, give them protection they need.
Right,
In the
right.
you know, I mean, if it's not NAFCO, but you can get Globe and it's the same stuff, it's a different.
Yeah, it would take us down a whole other trail of writing the spec and going for alternate quotes, alternate prices. Which,
Yeah,
given what we just bought, satisfaction with what, I would steer away from that if possible.
Just question.
Yes, sir.
Custom to, or catered just to NAFTA?
It is not catered to just an AFCO, but it's built upon a spec in the terms of buying additional gear. Most cases, you look at that as part of an existing system. Like we're doing gear cleaning and inspections on this particular line. When you steer outside of that, you're kind of headed down another path with your
Specifications for cleaning. Okay. Comes back to standards.
standardization does help, and it can also get you into situations like what we're talking about.
Right.
No doubt.
Might be worth having a conversation with us. We need some kind
Commissioner Donnelly's point, if we could get a commitment on the date delivery, that's really the standard that we need to be operating.
Right. Okay.
I'll make a motion we approve the PPE funding request in the amount of $92,474.68. With the caveat that Chief Breezer or our purchasing will ensure that we have a guaranteed delivery date.
We purchased the PPE in the amount of $92,474.68 from NAFCO, with the caveat that we get a hold of them and come up with a guaranteed delivery date. Is that right? Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner. Any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. Carries. Four now. Discuss and consider and take any necessary action on target vector renewal.
This is the software that we utilize to track our training and assignments that are given to the training. This is within budget, budget line, budget. We request your approval tonight on it. I will also point out that there is some other expense of Target Solutions that has been ongoing and has been paid by you. I've received notification that EMS may not be willing to pay for that. So this is one piece that is in budget. We're asking for your approval for. We absolutely, without question. The other that is utilized throughout the organization with volunteer staff as well. And so I've received word that EMS may not be paying for that.
You know what the value of that component is?
Chief Clanton, could you provide that?
It's been in the neighborhood of $9,000 to $10,000 that EMS has provided for those with EMS certification for online CE and your credentials. We added the $150 to bring on board our volunteer staff that did not have an EMS certification, so that we would all be on the same platform to disseminate that information. So it's a multi-level platform that allows us to complete it's both the MSCE and fire training. So what we're currently talking about is the 150 that we put in budget, and that's for our VFD folks to be sure that they're getting the same information and notifications. But to the point of the EMS certified, in the past, EMS has spent roughly 10 grand and has paid for that. I will say something complicated it this year is that Target Solutions invoiced EMS for $23. They added the two together. I'm sure that created some conversation. In addition to the conversation that Chief Greaser has had, I had a conversation with EMS on this matter, and we're going to re-invoice for what they've traditionally paid and see where that goes. So I know that Chief Greaser's had a conversation, but I think that's what I understand. So.
Yeah, I would characterize that as very correct, but I would say that that's the case. Like, they may not be willing to do that. Not willing to
research
continue
their
that.
contract hard and see if it does not say should take care of that. It may not.
Yep. Higher up within the county.
Any request is different from what you'll go over a little bit later, op report around the same subject. Says that
This is what
make the motion that we approve the Target Solutions funding request in the amount of $15,295.50.
By Commissioner Commissioner Dominic approve the target selection for $15,050. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Thornton. Any other discussion or question? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries.
The other conversation, just come back and let us know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I appreciate you approving that. That's a very useful for us. I've used that in previous life, and I think it'd be very useful. I think in the complexity of our organization, it's able to capture quite a bit for us.
15.5, discuss and consider and take any action on personnel attending this for tank. And this is the school that's put on by Longview Fire.
It is, and so that's 3 individuals to attend that cost of before at 25 exceeds our ability to do that without your approval. Tonight we just seek your approval to proceed with that training.
I think it's going to be career staff, volunteers that want to go to, or what? Or can volunteers go?
There are 3 that have identified, and I'm not certain.
So we were looking to send command staff and or training individuals to capture as much information as they could there and bring that back, and we were going to do an offering inside the county ourselves. I teach, and so we're going to do that offering here for everybody.
Yeah, but and I understand that, and that's a good school. I know what's going on. I say it's something we do need to do in this county since 2 main rail lines run through the county.
Yes, sir.
Troop and Ark, and then we have it come through Winona in that area too, so. Chapel Hills area, I would imagine, so.
So this is just for the class?
This is just.
And
To send 3 people.
so would we come?
It's 550s for 3 people.
So there'll be no travel expenditures. They'll take a ESD day, and those are provided as part of the tuition.
So that is the cost.
Yes, sir.
Fuel.
Yes, sir.
Good deal.
25 for 3 people.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wilson approved for 25, 50% 3 people to St. Carl School at Longview. Have a second? By Commissioner Thornton. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Say nay. That motion carries. Okay. 15.6, operations report.
All right, I have everything is provided for you for your review. Some operational highlights that I wish to explain to the board for allowing Smith and myself to attend the Texas Fire Chiefs Conference in Waco. I found it to be quite useful. A little takeaway from that in my Friday report that I've been sending out. Hopefully it was you thinking about the team and how important the team is to executing. In addition to that, I've articulated several other things, highlights of our, as well as our training division, some of the classes that they have been participating in. Stop Bleed was a class that was been rolled out across work in that. That's a useful class for sure. In addition to that, lots of training offerings that have been ongoing throughout the last 30 days. Questions you might have, I'm available to answer.
I've got one for you, Chief Freezer, and it comes from a statement that you made earlier in the week for a meeting. It was about no responses and how that set an organization that you came from versus where we are right now. And we had no responses across all the districts in this last period. And I don't have the expectation you're gonna know the answer to each one, but I would appreciate it if you would look at our responses and make sure that we don't have a issue with people not responding.
Correct. Yeah,
Or
that's,
if we do, that we have some type of mitigation that we're talking about. And now, just another, now the 828 stints, the top four is medical call, utility call. 3 instant is canceled. And to me, that's just, I guess, unbelievable that we have calls of 820 that the number 3 is canceled. I mean, we're expending efforts through our resources to do nothing.
right. Yeah, that is a fairly large number, that many that are included in that. My experience would tell me that some of those are even alarm calls that we get canceled and route on. So there are some canceled.
Right.
But further clarification on what we're experiencing, are there any trends that are out there more?
And if there's anything we can do working with other agencies, I'll try to minimize
Yes.
those as well. So that you develop your relationships outside our own district or personnel, and
Correct.
please keep that in mind. What we can do, cut down on that.
Fair.
All right. Item 16, consider taking necessary action on fire chief.
I need to go back on 15, I have one more out there.
Oh,
In the operation report also, you said that there's a workshop that needs to be scheduled. Do we have
Yes.
a tentative time that we can work on?
Did have a tentative date that was kind of proposed. That was April the 13th, a strategic planning session proposed at around 5:30 or 6.
That's not on a Friday, I hope. Don't want to be Friday.
April the 13th, which is a Thursday, proposed at 5 or 6, with your choice.
I'll get back
6
to you
or
outside the
6
meeting.
is probably better for everybody, especially getting on board guys that on the strategic committee.
Yeah.
6.
Just a little bit about that, ongoing, the strategic plan. We've got quite a bit of developments and data to share with you. Some analysis of heat maps that look at where responses and calls are in relation to where we have stations and where potential futures might need to be. As well as apparatus. There's all the analytics that have been done on it. And that'll help us frame things into determining for future purchases and things of that nature.
Thank you. I don't have anything else down.
That all you got?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Discuss, consider taking necessary action on fire chiefs presenting, discussing issues with the action. Chief Arnold, are you here tonight?
Just waiting on my question.
I'll hold that.
Oh, okay.
See what you tell us before we have to
No lie, man. Things on the council calls a while ago. A lot of times, it's second and third departments on a box getting canceled. So it's a safety measure. It's going to continue to happen, I hope, because I like it.
Makes perfect sense. Just
Yeah.
on the surface, it says
The first unit I'm saying gets there and finds out that it's a brush pile behind the house instead of the house that's on fire, and they cancel it. I've heard that on 3 weeks a couple of times.
we're calling it as a box.
Yes. And so that's skewing some of your numbers on some of that. Now, and this may have been taken, I apologize to logistics over here. This last week, been going on out station. And we have talked several times about we should be able to use our key fobs to get into any station in the county. I couldn't even get in my station 2. So it was very frustrating. Needless to say, the day staff, they came out and we got in and I got to look and see what the problem and everything. Don't fuss, okay? But now y'all do have one other thing. And I called JD about this one the other day. We got called to I took a brush unit out. I did not hook my seatbelt properly, but as soon as it reminded me about 4 times, I immediately stopped, fastened the seatbelt, and it continued to tell me all the way out to the scene that I didn't have my seatbelt fastened. So when I got out there, I fastened every seatbelt apparatus and seatbelted myself in. And it still told me, oh, the seatbelt wasn't working. I don't mind the technology. I think it's great, okay? Some checks and balances. But please, when y'all get through with that stuff, make sure it works. That's frustrating. It's as bad as my little kid sitting behind me all the way to Florida. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Okay? If that's the only fuss I got, y'all are doing pretty good, okay?
We have so when the issues are coming up, we're addressing them.
Well, just before you leave, it's aggravating. That everything seems to be going pretty good. 39, that's about our average on calls. Having a lot of medical calls. Not having any problems with my crews. We're trying to as much as we can, and there are some issues that will be coming to y'all about some different issues that we're finding being there more often. So anyway, that project is kind of hit and miss right now. Volunteers are hard to come by. They're at a premium, and we're doing the best we can. Any questions?
I will say, Max, and I'll say it to all the chiefs, if it's operational, call Chief Breezer, give it to him. If it's anything else, call Eric, give it to him.
Yeah.
And if they can't help y'all,
Well,
y'all can whoever you need to.
I need to send it up to them first, and then see if they can get it fixed. If they can't get it fixed, then all right. You know, there's a procedure we go through. And when we do get to Jackson, Terrence is not able to be here tonight. He takes a few things that he's got, so I'll be speaking for Jackson tonight.
Good afternoon. Good, how are you? I'm sorry?
We saw you on TV.
Good. We were on the news quite a bit this last month, in the last few weeks. I'll tell you all about it. For February, we had 77 incidents. We had 1 person, 0 no responses, and as of today, 0 reports for February. I'll let you know that we have 3 no responses for March, and it frustrates me to no end because we only had 1 all of last year. My goal this year happened within 1 week. I won't make any excuses. It was on us that we missed those calls. We had gaps in coverage. I had 5 of our senior folks that started new jobs in their personal life and just completely destroyed our schedule. But we have since self-corrected and we have a new regular overnight schedule, so we're back on our regular overnight staffing. So going forward, coming up, we still have several 13190, which is a wildland firefighter Type 2 certification. We have some that are doing it online that are going to be doing a field day, and we have several that we're anticipating sending down to Lufkin at Angelina College to do it there in person. The opportunity to attend Clanton, some of the other ESD members to go to the Fire Boss training over in Henderson at the airport to look at the Texas Forest Service was able to work on bringing in. And other upcoming trainings that we have, we're working with Christus next Tuesday for an LZ class, zone with Christus. Chief Clanton was able to invite White House and Flint Gresham Department to come participate in that as well, which is good. We run lots of mutual aid with them, so that'll be good training for everybody. Our junior firefighter is getting ready to compete this year again in the Junior Fire Games in Raleigh. That's April 22nd, so if you see any of them or happen to come in contact with Captain Bremer, maybe give them a pat on the back or a well wish for their competition. Again, last year they felt like fish out of water. You know, a handful of kids showing up in Rowlett with packing them up in minivans, and they show up in the Denton Junior Fire that shows up in a charter, you know, unloading their gear and equipment. But they were able to first place last year, so they're proud and are happy to go back this year and compete again. We have a Touch-A-Truck coming up in a few weeks. We're working with the Junior League of Tyler. That's housed at, it'll be done at the Green Acres Baptist Church here in town. When we participated, if you could think of a truck in the city, it was there. They had fire trucks, they had helicopters, buses, mail trucks, bulldozers, 18-wheelers, and they sold tickets to raise money to then donate to nonprofits and charities in the area. Last year we had over 2,500 children that were able to come out and interact with people from the various agencies and look at trucks and crawl all over them, which is a great opportunity. Other training that we have coming up, we currently have 2 totaled out cars at Bullard, doing a basic extrication training and then an advanced extrication training over the next month and a half at 2 separate meetings for our volunteers to be able to get some hands-on with both the battery operated tools and the Hamatra tools that we have on Engine 1. I'm still kind of debating. We were working with one of the local towing agencies. It cost them about $500 per car, and they donated those to us. Trying not to take advantage of their donation to us, and I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to get some work done on the tools and with the cars. So I'm working with my officers to design the training and kind of see what that's going to look like, if we can incorporate more people into that or not. We had an interesting, you were talking about saw us on the news. We had an interesting call a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago today, where somebody in our district left the roadway, went through several poles, and rolled their car and landed upside down in a pond. And so that was at nearly midnight on that Monday night. We had 5 on our engine that we were staffing overnight. We got en route, and then we were advised by dispatch that we had attempted to the driver that was in the car. And so, you know, there was a concern there, obviously, that we might have more patients than just the driver in the car. We might have more victims. But fortunately, when we arrived on scene, Bullard had 4 swiftwater rescue technicians that entered the water, along with Flint Gresham Fire Department, battery operated tools, and they had rolled that car over onto its side to allow that driver to breathe until fire and EMS arrived on scene. Driver and UTM was there to help. So we were able to work with the Bullard ISD to recognize those 6 of the 6 individuals. 4 of them are juniors at the Bullard High School. And so imagine Captain Grammer was trying to the Bullard junior firefighters to go compete. One of them really in the fire service, so she's seriously considering coming to get some certifications and participate in the junior fire program. But we were more than happy to be able to recognize them this last week. Other than that, we stay busy in the community, going to our city council meetings and the Bullard Council and so on. But if there's any other questions? Thank you.
Appreciate everything you do.
Sir.
We had a busy month for that month of February. I have gotten 2 new members put on the department, as well as I've got 2 more paperwork being done, so I'll be having 2 more coming on. So just the word's getting out, so it's helping me tell the kids, so I'm getting them. And they're helping out by making my calls too as well, instead of just once in a while. Also, we worked the health day at the chapel school. And I did some work with kids there, see if they get interested in the fire department. I do a lot with the school, they help out, so I can go there and talk to the kids as well. Also, like I said, we did have our chili supper in February, and just a rough estimate, I think we made roughly about $3,000 on our chili supper this year, so I thought it was pretty good. And also I got 4 guys for that wilding class. They're doing it online. They're going to be going to that this Saturday, to up on their wilding classes. So, and that's all set. Like I say, and a lot of products here on this month. That is. Other than that, you got any questions?
You did have one no response.
I see that when I looked at it, it's during the daytime for the day crew, so I have not looked in to find out, but I need to find out what crew was there that day to find out what. I haven't done that, but I will find out exactly what it was. And I know sometimes if they're in my state, the metal building, it will not set off lasers inside in a certain area in that room. So they were in that area, they might not have picked it up. So, but. Yeah, I'm on. No, just that metal building, just there's certain spots. It just, no matter what, even our radios, the radio will not work sometimes in that one spot. And if they're not anywhere near now the radio in the day room works good, but if they're not close to hear it, I need to see if I can try to get some speakers throughout my station, might help out if we can work that in. I just have IT if they help doing that kind of work. If I get them like in the day room, instead of like in the engine bay, get one in the engine bay. Okay.
Good evening. We had 88 incidents. Looks like everything else is okay. At least everybody that showed up at the scenes had no dig pressure hooked up out in the engine bay at Station 2 for our pressure, filling up SCBA bottles. Got another compressor out at Station 2 that quit running, and they actually got it running. The motor was locked up on it. I don't know if they sent a thing to JD or not. It's running. But at a station, a brand new compressor that had hooked up. But so.
I'll save the question for Chief Arnold for you.
Okay.
Just think that I think solely on him.
Oh.
And you brought it out as well. That we have are no active. So you have 13 on your roster, of which 6 have no activity in the month. And the message was, we missed a great opportunity. Having those people engaged in what we do day in, day out. I mean, if we want them to actually start continue to participate, then we got to somehow or other bring them back in and give them not like calls, not like any activity, zero. And for the most part, those people are here as well. So,
Right.
So we need to work on getting those people re-engaged. They showed an interest to begin with. They will re-engage again, coming back to us and all. So if you're going to have out there, you got 46% of your roster not active at all.
Not good.
challenge you as a
Yeah.
chief.
One of them is my wife. I constantly tell her, "You on the meeting tonight?" She's had a lot of health issues. But, yeah.
You're on the roster, you gotta go, JD. Also, see Carol Sells on your roster as well.
Yeah. You bet.
Good evening. I'm doing well. You guys got stuck with me tonight. Chief Stone sends his regrets. He is out of town tonight. So I'll got the numbers there in front of you. I won't bother to read them to you. I'll just kind of tell you what we've done this month. So one major change we've made at Flint, first time in my election, which is 33 years on the department, is that we have moved from twice a month meetings to once a month meetings. At the request actually of Lieutenant Rath, because he had been watching for quite a while, and so we're confined to our training opportunities, which is a lot of the meeting. So towards the membership to bylaws, because our meeting in our bylaws to once a month. For and our that day fellow up as far as goes, but also we're going to utilize those meetings for other work that we need to do, hydrant program, inspection program, kind of stuff, so that we can get volunteers in and working. Some of the guys need to be doing as well. Doing that. So we're working on, it's really new. We kind of did it quickly. So we don't really have a long range plan written yet, but we have several ideas that we're kind of working on. I think we've done 2 now. Going very well. Been a lot of positive feedback on that. They've really enjoyed, not just coming up at 6 o'clock and wasting 2 hours of their evening just for the sake of having a business meeting. Members, we've put new members in the last couple of months. Remember, and we had this discussion, we couldn't remember exactly what month they came on, but one, and he is actually part of a new program that we are doing with White House Independent School District, a public safety career investigation program they're doing. They reached out to us and asked if we would be interested in hosting. And my first question was, who is the student? When they told me the student, I know his parents. So we felt pretty comfortable doing it, because if he gets out of line, I got a teacher, Chief Stone, myself, and mom and dad that I can keep in line. So we're going to try that out this semester. It's going pretty well so far. The hope is now, especially that the White VFD station is staffed during the daytime, that we will be able to go into that class at the beginning of the semester before these students choose their internship location and try to draw them into our organization, the high school program, and then subsequently bring them in either as a junior or full-fledged volunteer when they become of age. So that's going very well so far. That particular student is doing a lot of his NIMS, CPR, first aid, to kind of that comes. So we're setting him actually as a member of the department, and he has joined the department subsequent to this program, and I think he will continue. Both of his parents are in healthcare and public safety, so I think he will continue, and I think that opening up a really good door there with the White House. This month we had, as they presented at the beginning of the meeting, one member that completed the fire academy that was hosted up at Red Springs. We've got one other member that has had a little bit of trouble completing a different. He got COVID. So we've had a little trouble with that, but we'll get him finished up. We had a member, another one, Springs, and another school that was done this. All I have.
here. Get my glasses off so I can read. The Department Board of Directors will be to the SFFMA support certification when received. February event, they attended the Chapel Hill Community Service Organization meeting. They are seeing an increase in commercial businesses. I guess training captain kind of telling me about that. I don't know what's going on up there. And they have requested information on Knoxbox to get started in the area. Apparently they're having some problems there. They had a one-person response. They had 2 incidents at the same time. The staff responded to the MVC, and he responded to a medical assist. They have 2 applications for support membership. So they are getting, I need to talk to him and find out what's going on. And for IT, he said, sent y'all a new roster, and as of right now, that's reflected on his report. So I don't know what that means. We can look into that. He sent you a new roster, and it needs to be updated on the report. Okay. I can't take questions from him.
Had problem. Noonday, we're working on special events the year. Our roster is currently full. We've got 1 on the waiting list. We have, like Tate said, we have switched over in, I believe, December. We started doing the Saturday training. So Saturday, we went from 4 to 5 individuals showing up on Monday nights to normally 15, 16. And threw in a little bonus that I cook lunch for them or served lunch. So other than that, meeting that we have, normally they can come up as far as the finances. We provide the noonday board meeting. Any questions on the finance? Other than that, that's all I've got. Y'all have any questions for me? No? Yeah. Yep. Hot dog.
I didn't know I was coming here till about 6 o'clock this evening. I am the training coordinator, took that position over. We got one guy that we voted to put on last month. He's a full-time Glaywater firefighter, lives in the areas between us and Winona, I believe. And I think Danny turned all his paperwork in to get him on. I didn't find out, but I kind of went by, I hadn't got a card from SFMA in a long time, so I got a call this week to try to get our membership back up, because I believe our membership might be expired with SFMA. So I'm working on getting, and then going to start getting stuff lined up for training and stuff. So we just got to start doing no training until we can get the stuff, before we can get the department accredited for it. So that's where I'm at on that.
So how many total members you got?
I couldn't tell you, John. I hadn't seen the full roster. The secretary's supposed to be typing one up. I know we are working with CPL Malone, our 501c back up, Camilla Davis. So she's been doing books for Charles several years. 20 years. Charles got them started doing it back before the ESD and got started. We used to do an audit every year with her. That too. I mean, that this week it talked to her about that. She's gonna help us get all that situated. So just a slow process, but we're get it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not, all them 15 supposed to not, because some of them don't come up and been up there in a while, so that's what we get through and find out who's on there, who's not on there, and get all that situated. But yeah, we're working on it. It takes time.
Well, we had 18 incidents, 22 personnel. Missing reports, I think I've got those taken care of now. We watched that they were the airport in Russ County. Very interesting. Two of my recruits, firefighter one, and passed a state test for that, just in the academy. So I'm real proud of them too. One of them seems to really have to go to him, and the other one, he's got to be pushed just a little bit. We got our truck from the Forestry Service, and we're trying to get it started. Yeah, that's a surplus Army truck. I had to send in for an extension on our other one again.
What's your truck?
The truck, yes, sir.
Still can't get a chassis or what?
That's what I'm being told. They gave me the rest of this year into January, so I'm hoping to get a truck anyway. It's one of those things we just being very patient and trying to anyway. Issues come up, but we was internally.
So the company you're getting a brush truck on couldn't give you any answers on that type of truck, or?
He does it. Their supplier, Wildfires, who we're getting the truck through, and we're having, I think, the same problem that everybody else is. The dealers, they get so many, and they just don't know when they're coming in.
They know that if they can't furnish your deal, that you lose your grant, they'll lose the truck.
Yeah, and that's the reason I've been going extensions. And this is, I don't know, it's third or fourth one that I've gotten. And hopefully the Forestry Service will work pretty good. Matt's helped me out on this deal quite a bit.
So is there an option to look at a different supplier? You look at certain people at the time.
I think they're all just in the same boat.
That recipe says they're the same way. There's chassis they can't get. It's all dealers across the board. So if we do switch, it's not going to change anything.
It may put us further back down the line. And do you have any questions? I'm still up to my two-man resources at night, too. I'm still up to my two-man resources at night, too.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
White House. There he is. He's hiding back there. I didn't see you,
You didn't hear him snoring?
Right. Had 65 calls for the month of February. The middle of February is when we started with 48-hour crews, but we still had on that report 6 one-persons. Had 2 no responses. One of those medical calls that was canceled when they were in and out. When they keyed it in on the wrong, under the wrong category. and it kicked it to a response. The other one was in that time from 6:30 to 8 in the morning. Utility issue, yeah. Yeah, it was a utility issue where a tree limb was on the power line. Still pretty strong with our 15 personnel. We've got one new guy that Miss Sherry and us have been going back and forth with, and we were having an issue getting him onboarded. He is a certified firefighter and everything, and of all things, the issue was dealing with where our uniforms were from. He had listed that he worked there, or saying that he didn't. He brought to Miss Sherry. We had him bring to Miss Sherry. He produced some check stubs where he worked there and cleared it all up. So he is now to get. So we got him coming. Looking forward to getting him there. He's looking anxious to get in there. Matter of fact, Chief Greaser, we go down in White House. I think he's within 2 blocks of your house. So he's right in your neighborhood. All right. Been fantastic having a 48-hour crew. Believe you me. For the month of March so far, I hadn't looked at how many calls we've had. I will tell you that 90% of them have been medical calls with that to the hospital. And it's been that they, and don't get me wrong, I've been getting up. I hadn't read because I've told all guys medical go get that one at the hospital. Get that crew going out of the district. That the crew can come on back to the station and go pick him up. It started out, Chief Greaser was there, started it out with the crews. One set of, I was asking the crews because the majority of the 48, when they get a box alarm, that meant Jaws was leaving going. Everybody thinks, well, you got the house to back you up. It's the house that we did have a double pin, and we called them in on the second that they had trained with their jaws on it, did not shut down the jaws correctly when they went to put them back. Pressures on. We went up both cars because they couldn't get their unit hooked up. So we started in and started with the fact of trying to get another set of jaws, combi 2 or something in our district to where there wouldn't be an issue, but I was asking the crews that if they went to another district for a structure fire to please set jaws out and just leave it in the bay where the volunteers would have it when they come in to back them up for our district while they were thank goodness we never had all that issue ever had to happen, but we do have one of the training captains went to Mike and them out there. They had another set of harmonics out to our station, so we do have a second set at our station now. We have got it on our tanker, so if that purpose behind that, we've got a big if our crew has to go to another district for a structure, big apparatus blocker, seeing if we happen to have a car with a penny. If they take our tanker to go to that other district, we're still sitting there with a unit with the engine at our station. So we do not have a set leaving our district anymore, which is a good thing. Any other thing for me? Do appreciate the 8-hour crew. It's been nice. at 11. We'll keep right on 11, okay? Thanks.
Good afternoon, guys. Y'all see all the, two of those no responses in that period of for Winona were 7 to 8 o'clock. We are all leaving our residence headed to work. One of them was during the day. I believe our crew, Jackson may have ran that call for them. As far as training goes, we're actively pursuing training every opportunity we get. We had 3 attend the ICS 300. Get that one done. We've got, I believe, 4 in line to go to skills. So, any questions for me? Okay.
What do you got going to the other class? William, how'd you say it was?
We have a wildland skill.
Oh, okay. All right. Item 17 will be the board will convene in closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, 551-071, 551-072, and 554. Taking on the board. Final action. Final vote shall be taken at the board reconvene session, and we are adjourned at 7:58.
I did.
We call this meeting back to order at 8:26 p.m. There's really no other action to be taken as far as any voting action by the board at this time. We are appointing 2 board members to be on the interview panel for the new financial person, and that will be Scotty Thornton and Brent Dominic. So that's the only thing that was done in closed session, but we wanted to let you know that they would be on that interview panel. Outside of that, I don't have very much else. I just want to thank you guys for the job you're doing. Chief Greaser, I thank you for what you're doing. You and your new command staff, we're looking for great things to come out of this.